Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to the Bitaxe Townhall. My name is One Clue. I'm your host, and we are writing the Townhall number 58 today. Today with me on stage is Scott again. Hey Scott, how are you doing?
Hey, Wonklu. I'm doing great. I've had a nice, busy week getting lots of stuff done, but now it's the weekend.
Now it's the weekend. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed the first couple of hours of my weekend already. It was a nice day, chilling with the kid and just enjoying weekend.
I guess you've had quite a bit more weekend already than I have, so
Yeah, well, it
it's
is
good
10
to know that
p.m.
it's a good
here.
one. You're in the future.
Sort of. Yeah, that's time zones is weird. I mean, we live on a planet Earth that is rotating, so yeah, I guess it's kind of weird. But just to get started here, for everybody who's new in that, BitX town halls are here for the people that want to join in and just have a conversation or just listen to some news, whatever is going on in the space. And if you do have any questions, anything else, feel free to ask them. You do have the town hall here as a Discord thingy where you can use the text chat. Or if you want to come up on stage and just have a chat with us, you can also do that. Just raise your hand and we make sure to bring you up on stage. But be aware, these town halls are recorded. So if you come up on stage, your voice is going to land in the internet. Apart from that, for everybody who is jumping in new, we have lots of information available, obviously, on this Discord server. It's a bit shitty because like Discord isn't really indexed in that way that you can easily search for terms and find a solution. But we're working on that. And I do have a topic that I want to talk about that, aka a possible forum for OSMU. Apart from that, we do have certain websites such as osmu.xyz and osmu.wiki, which are like, hey, read a little bit information about certain devices that you are interested in. Usually all of the devices that are from OSMU are on the OSMU wiki. So I just realized I need to update the wiki.
Seems like we should have an agent just like listening to everything that's going on and just it could like ping you and be like, "Hey, these are the updates I think I should make to the wiki." And you're like, "Yeah, sounds good."
Well, the longer I use Discord, the more I'm annoyed about the features it is lacking. Yeah, and as Adi is pointing out, the OSMU wiki definitely needs to be updated. I mean, I do certain updates from time to time, but it is, yeah, sometimes I'm just feeling like, okay, I need to work on other things, and then the wiki is not as important to me. So, well, it kind of depends on the community if some people want to step up and do some pull requests or not. Because it's open source, you can do it, it's on GitHub. But in the first place, having the wiki there anyway, even if it is outdated, is a good thing because it points the people to the right direction if they want to gain some knowledge, which I think is an important step that we're taking here.
Maybe we should get into the forum idea and what we were talking about.
Yeah, maybe let's just do this straight away. So, the reason why I said I'm annoyed about Discord is basically for one, the fact that what I already pointed out, you cannot index Discord. Like, whatever we do on this Discord server is on this Discord server. It's like whatever you do in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's ridiculous. So nothing of that information that we are pointing out here and giving basically away on this Discord server is anywhere else available. So I was thinking about hosting a forum. There are a couple of caveats to it, especially I need to think about it how I want to do it because depending on how I do it, it's going to be a legal problem for me personally. But I probably found a solution to that issue already. So the idea is that we still use Discord. because I kind of like these town halls and that we can use it as the way it is and we can talk with each other. There are certain other decentralized or more open alternatives to Discord there available, such as Flotilla, but most of them are not really that good. So the idea that I'm proposing here, or that I will next week set in stone and move forward with that, is that we will shrink the amount of channels that we do have to the bare minimum. And we will have a forum for people to sign up and contribute and share posts or just come in and look at certain posts in the internet. So that web scrapers and everybody else who's just interested and is just looking on Google sees that website, can go there, have a forum with things, everything written in stone, and can just use this instead of needing to join a Discord server. I do feel it. A lot of people are confused when it comes to Discord, like, what the heck is this fancy Facebook of the new kids? It's kind of weird. It's a little bit unorganized and everything else. I think a forum would help in that sense. We try to use the discussion section on GitHub as well, but then people are confused about GitHub, and usually it's been used by people for storing code and sharing code bases. So the only real solution that we do have is, to move forward with a forum to allow anybody to join in there and stay also anonymous if they don't want to sign up or anything else, if they just want to consume. Adi is asking in the chat, can we use an AI to organize the Discord? Even that wouldn't solve the problem. The problem that we're having is we have so much information. We are currently at this point that we don't know how to share it any longer. Like, I cannot keep up with doing videos. I mean, I tended to do like 2 videos a week and trying to get as much information as possible out there to the people. But I'm realizing more and more that having a family, having a job, and then doing an open source project on the side is basically robbing too much time of my life. So I can't keep up with that. And I don't want to be the only source of information. So more and more people are doing videos about it, but usually it is not really that informative when it comes to how other things on the back, like what does it take to develop anything? What does it take to reverse engineer chips or to figure out new software quirks or whatever? So that is like sunken information that is nowhere retrievable. And with Discord being Discord, it is a nice tool for what it is. But I realize more and more with the amount of people that we do have in this community, we have grown in such a way that we should leave Discord for the people that it is meant to be. And that is gamers and not communities. So, yeah, that is the problem. A forum is one way of trying to solve this because it just eliminates the issue of having Discord, needing to manage different channels, etc. So we have a space that is open and available for everybody. It doesn't even matter. Like, ideally, you don't even want to moderate a forum unless it is like active spam or like scams going on there. Probably there will be bots and trying to spam the forum with like bullshit in terms of like, hey, buy this token and become rich schemes. But apart from that, a forum could open up like more information to the broader public, because the whole idea that we do have with all of the things that we do is that people know about it. Not only people that are in the niche and then in the niche of Discord, but for basically everybody who's just searching in Google, hey, how can I build my own Bitcoin miner? Oh, here's the OSMU forum. You can just read there if you want to. Oh, you want to contribute? Just sign up and make an account and you can post something that you know that you find interesting or you dislike with certain things. Just tell it on that forum. I think that's a better approach than having Discord. The biggest problem with that is obviously we need to have a server, we need to have the infrastructure, and we need to make sure that it runs. And then, like with hosting a server, with offering a forum, you are bound to legal things. I think I found a solution that works. So currently, I'm trying to figure out the amount of money it takes to run this thing, but I think that should be easily be doable.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think, you know, there's so much information. I mean, there's so much discussion that happens on the Discord server, right? There's hot takes, there's actual like development, there's just lots of people asking new questions and stuff, and that's all good, but it's basically impossible to read historical stuff, right? We've heard from lots of people that have shown up here on the OSMU Discord and have been like, there's so many channels, like even just going through the list of channels can be difficult, much less find the information that you're looking for because there's just so much going on. I think having a discourse forum would be great because you can search it with Google or your AI tools or whatever, and you can just read, right? You don't even necessarily have to sign up. I know that I lurked on Bitcoin Talk for years before ever posting anything, and learned a ton about mining and Bitcoin and stuff through that. And that's all just the result of Google searches that I made. So I think that is really powerful. And being is that it's not like a live discussion, right? Hopefully it can be a little bit more focused to the topic that's happening. Kind of compose your message and think about what it's going to be before posting it. I mean, obviously there'll be people posting nonsense and there'll be the need for moderation, but we can keep it in more line. And there's we have STS Miner and the rest of the moderators here that do a ton of work, like getting rid of spammers and stuff, right? So it's probably not going to be worse than what we have now as far as spam goes. I feel like Discord's tools for dealing with spam are, I don't know, from the sense that I get, is they're pretty bad, really. Like
The really
you just kind of have
important
to manually.
the really important thing that you're pointing out there is the fact that we don't really have the option to search for historical things. I mean, in the
Mhm.
early days, I do remember it, and I probably stopped doing that over a year ago. In the early days of Discord, we had like less than 1,000 people on the server, and I mean, even these days, it is not that crowded. Like, it's not that much going on, which is good and bad at the same time. But in the early days, it was super easy. I could just go out there and tell the people, hey, just use the search function of Discord because, like, just search for these things and you will find an answer. It kind of worked. But now it is so much, it doesn't make any sense. And the historical data is basically lost in time here. We have no way of giving the information out to the people to get them to what we want them to understand, which is basically how these things work and yeah, what's going on behind everything. So
And I really like the idea. I think that's a great idea. I think OSMU, the sort of main part of OSMU should be this forum, right? Discourse or whatever you're thinking, but like a traditional forum, right? We can still have the Discord as the sort of social thing, right? If you want to do audio chats, if you want to just, have a like a live, like more like a chat type interface with everyone, but we'd have like far fewer channels. And um, I think that would just be, like Discord would be a place for people who are working on this stuff, want to like share code or get feedback, that kind of thing, like real quickly, just that sort of low latency type communication. But the sort of main interface for the majority of people would be the forum. I think that would work out pretty well.
to dive a little bit deeper into that topic and give you an understanding of what I'm looking at and what I will set up next week, and then probably will be something like forum.osmu.xyz. I need to decide on the URL, but or the domain name, but that comes next week. I'm looking at discourse and I'm posting in the town hall chat now the GitHub link to it because it's an open source software, and I think that truly goes into what we're trying to do here with all of the things that we're posting, that we're pushing, that we're developing. It's licensed under the GPL v2 license, So it just conducts with exactly what we're doing. And it features basically everything we need. It is simple and it's open source. And we can host it wherever we want. There are a couple of hosting providers I already looked into, and the biggest issue is currently I don't know how much data we need for this in terms of storage. I'm probably thinking about a couple of gigabytes, but depending on the amount of people, because I will do announcement posts and everything else on this Discord server that we're moving forward with moving away on not entirely moving away, so don't get me wrong, like we're not moving away from Discord. We're just like we need to shift the information into a place where it does make sense. And I'll probably just use a little bit of AI in the early days to get started on a couple of threads, such as basic information about all of the different ASIC chips that we do have knowledge about, as well as different models, etc., etc., etc. So yeah.
It also, I haven't done it myself, but Tyler from 256, he set up a discourse forum for the Heat Punks, and he also set one up just recently for 256, and it has some kind of neat integrations, right? Like they have their kind of social chat set up on Telegram, but it makes posts in Telegram about new topics that have been started, and there seems to be a good synchronization between the forum and Telegram and Twitter. And I would assume that something could be set up with the wiki too, right? It's like, if something changes on the wiki, that could be a topic on the forum, which could help for keeping those things up to date and keeping people aware of the new changes.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, I mean,
Distortions is writing in the
and it's
chat
also
that,
he self-hosted too. So you could probably
yeah,
talk to him about his experience with how much storage is needed and stuff like that. Obviously, both those forms are really new, but
yeah. I mean, in terms
looks
of
pretty
storage,
sharp.
I'm not really worried about it at all. I mean, I'm maybe thinking about hosting it myself, but I need to think about it. There are already some plans for mirroring the server with a couple other people from the OSMU community, because I've talked about that with a couple of people already, so that we make sure there is either basically no downtime, but we need to think about how we do that. I'll do that next week. The thing is, storage is probably not going to be an issue. I mean, I myself have a couple terabytes of storage left that I can use freely for whatever I want at home. And even VPS providers, as Distortions is pointing out, it's not that expensive. It depends all on how big this is gonna grow, and what do you want to allow. Like allow uploading images, probably, because like if someone is asking something about a specific topic, let's say someone is interested in a certain issue on a PCB, then you need to have like images. So that could eat up a little bit of storage. But apart from that, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. The biggest problem is we need to move over the people, but I think that can be fairly easily be done, especially if you move forward with what I'm thinking about. So yeah, don't get confused if you do see channels being archived. Nothing will be deleted on this Discord server. We never deleted anything apart from scammers. But if we move channels away or lock them, we move them down into the archive area where you can find even more channels than we currently do have active. So there's a lot of things going on. It was helpful having Discord in the early days, but these days the main discourse, I'd say, is no longer happening as it has been in the early days. For those of you who don't know how it went in the early days, maybe I give you a quick glance. I mean, um, basically, we wrote about everything, and it was like everybody was just hyped about all of the things, which still is the fact. But uh, yeah, we were sharing all of these things, and with the current drama, or not drama, but the current market change and the new things coming out and everything else, we do see a lot of people having no longer any interest in sharing. and having a discourse about certain topics, but trying to get their own personal benefit into work being provided by others, which I don't want to open up as a topic. Just want to leave it like that. But I think if we move over to a forum where we have a discourse, it's funny that this thing is called discourse. It's just easier to provide the data that people might be interested instead of having to answer questions over and over and over again. I mean, even these days, people are coming in and, as Scott already pointed out, are confused like, oh, there's so many channels. Which channel am I supposed to look in? Yeah, well, it's kind of hard. It kind
Yeah,
of
I
is.
don't think it'll go away, right? We're always going to get
No.
people showing up that don't, search the forum completely and post the same topic again. But at least it makes it easier for them to do the right thing. Uh,
Hmm.
basically Google search it.
And I mean, it's not too bad. It looks kind of nice, and I tested it a little bit. It's funny to use. I'd say it's just a way of how can we leverage what we achieved over the years in order to make sure that we provide the information as what we wanted to do with this open source project. And I think that is more or less the explanation for everything, why I'm talking about this. There's no goodbye or anything else. Everything is still going, everything is still rolling. Things are fine. I'd like to say it's just Discord is a gatekeeper, in my opinion. And I don't like that. If we stick with Discord, we're gonna have an issue. So we
Yeah, I
can't
mean, we've
let that
gotten close
happen.
to it before.
Hmm?
We've gotten close to having issues with Discord before, right? Their
Yeah.
customer service is difficult and the rules are changing and things like that. I mean, we haven't had a fatal issue, but there certainly has been some uh, difficult things that have come up so far in, just how it's run. So, I mean, these are side effects of not really owning the platform, which I think we would get we would get much further towards owning and controlling the platform with discourse.
100%. That's what I do agree on. So, yeah, with that out of the way, what were we supposed to talk today about? I mean, maybe we can dive into what happened in Vegas quickly because
Yeah,
there
we should
was a
talk about
Vegas
Vegas
conference.
Festival.
And
Yeah.
then later on, I also want to point out that there are certain things happening now with ESP Miner as well. Again, we implemented Stratum V2 just today. So things are going nice and changes are coming. And I think it's worth to speak about them. Maybe we just give a little bit of an quick overview of what was going on in Vegas, like what was even there. Maybe you want to start on that, Scott.
Yeah. So I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, but Bitcoin Vegas, it's probably the biggest. It's definitely the biggest Bitcoin conference. I'm sure most people have heard about it. Yeah, it's the big one. I don't know how many people there, but it was a lot. And yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, everyone shows up, and I feel like I only scratched the surface of what was there. There's like I was talking with people, and they were like, "Oh, did you see so and so at this booth?" I'm like, I didn't even get that far to see that booth. So there was a lot going on. Um, but yeah, a lot of excitement. I know that both you and I did a number of panels. There's one that we were on together, uh, talking about open source Bitcoin mining, home mining, and yeah, I mean it's a crazy show, but and Vegas is a crazy place, of course. But yeah, it's really fun to get to see people, right? It's like, we're always on Discord or Twitter or whatever. And so it is pretty cool to get to see people and talk to them face to face, have some beers together. So yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I'm really glad you came. That was awesome to get to see you there and hang out.
I
But
mean,
it's
my
also
my
like
short explanation of this entire event and the city would be crazy. I mean,
crazy.
I heard from a couple of people who attended Bitcoin Vegas previously, like the years before, especially in the hype years of like Bitcoin going to the moon years, whatever. That it was a little bit bigger, a little bit more like for the average shiny people to come in. But even this year, it was nice. It was my first time coming over to the US, and probably going to Vegas is a bad idea for the very first time coming over to the US. But um, I kind of found an explanation of like if people asking me like, how was it? Like, how was the US and Vegas and everything else? And my answer to that would be if I only had stayed in Vegas and didn't do anything else, I'd probably say I'll never go back to the US. But my very good friend, I'm GPIO, and we went over to Vegas together and we planned this trip with having a couple days off. So after the event, we drove over to the Grand Canyon and just enjoyed a little bit the countryside around what was possible, like nothing extraordinary, just chilling out there and having a little bit of sightseeing and driving along roads. That was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to doing that again. It's that was extraordinary. That was fantastic. The
Yeah, I'm
event
so glad you did
itself,
that. Like
yeah,
it's just like Vegas is like Disneyland, you know? It's just Disneyland but in the worst kind of way.
I was
So
kind of confused. Like the amounts of slot machines, I wasn't able to count them. That was really confusing for me. I mean, I've never been to a casino before. I've just seen them from the outside. I mean, it's not as common as in Vegas, I'd say, at any place, anywhere else on this planet Earth. But yeah, the event itself was overwhelming, I'd say. There were lots of stages, lots of talks going on. I wasn't able to attend all of the ones that I wanted to attend to. There was some art galleries going on, um, lots of booths selling stuff. I myself was working on a booth because, yeah, I needed to pay for the flights, so somehow you need to get over there. And just being there and having all of these things hitting at you, like different people wanted to talk to you about certain things they're developing. Other people are just generally interested in what's going on, like what is a bitcoin miner, or like there were even people, what is even a bitcoin wallet, that didn't knew anything about that, which was so refreshing, I'd say, because it just put you back into the spot of like, hey, there are really that many people still out there that are not into that would like to know more, and that is just refreshing and rebirthing, I'd say, your inner will of keep going, which is fantastic. So I really enjoyed that. I was on two panels, one with you, as you already said. I also had a workshop where I just quickly dragged Schnitzel into it, and I was like, "Hey, dude, do you want to come with me on that workshop and just talk a little bit about Bitcoin mining, what it is, and why it is important, and why we should talk more about it?" It was all of that was obviously uh, overseeable, I'd say, or I don't know if that is the correct term in English. The the most space that was been used was probably by the booths of all of the merchants. Then the second biggest place was probably the main stage, which was just enormous. And then you had all of these scattered around, like smaller booths and workshop area rooms where I'd say maybe 3 or 4 dozen of people would fit in, which was fine. And it was still crowded everywhere. So I'd say it was a good thing. And I really love to do that again. As far as I do know, next year it's going to happen in Nashville.
yeah, that's what I heard. Nashville is a cool town. It's in my opinion quite a bit better than Vegas. A lot less slot machines.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, to be honest, the first thing that I was the most annoyed about was not even the slot machines and everything else, but the constant noise you had. Because there was music playing basically everywhere. Like you're going into a grocery store, if you even found one, playing music. If you go just on the streets and trying to do a little bit of sightseeing, music everywhere. It was distracting.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to create that environment. That's what Vegas specializes in. I mean, that's why people go there.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It probably has something that is touching you if you're attracted to that. I myself can happily say I'm not attracted to that. It was cool though, and I really enjoyed it, especially having all of this good communication with a ton of people. I met so many people. Man, that was crazy. Like, I needed to take notes of the names of people I met there. That was ludicrous.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think for the most part, everyone's very excited about, what we're doing, what we're all doing here. That was the vibe that I got.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for sure, it is always a niche topic to talk about, especially like Bitcoin itself as being still niche, I'd say, in the broader public. And then when you have people coming into it, you have different reasons why you try to use Bitcoin or why you try to get into the topic. And then trying to get people to understand how Bitcoin works is a niche in itself. And then trying to get them to understand how mining works is an even smaller niche. So, um, the hype is coming and going as always, as with these devices are around there and people are talking about it, and Bitcoin is all over the news or not. So that's just normal. So it has some highs and lows, and I just think it's awesome to see that people do realize how important this is and do want to talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, Bidax and related projects have, entered the mainstream of this niche that is Bitcoin, which is awesome. People are talking about it. Not everyone for what I would consider the right reasons, but basically everyone's talking about it. You don't meet many people now that are unfamiliar with the project.
Adi's asking a good question in the chat for a quick disruption here of this topic. He's asking, will BTC get affected if the economy crashes? I hope so, man. I really hope so. I mean, as far as I know, no matter what happens, one BTC stays one BTC. That's all I care about.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I think historically Bitcoin price has followed like the US economy pretty closely, but everyone keeps saying that it should be what's it called? Not, it shouldn't be correlated, right? It should almost be the inverse as people flee to harder assets. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? How does the economy work? The economy is madness. There's no rules.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everybody's doing whatever they want. So, I mean, it's a good and bad thing. The cool thing about what's happening in this entire space is that we don't know. Like this particularly has never happened before. We never had an asset that is deflationary in itself. So we can't even. I mean, I don't have magic glasses to view into the future, but as far as I can tell from the history that we have seen and that has been recorded, not a single asset has, or not a single monetary system has survived in it yet.
What you can know for sure, though, is that anyone that is telling you what the Bitcoin price is going to do is full of shit. Like maybe they'll get lucky and what they said actually happens, but there's no way to predict it.
No, for sure not. For sure not. It's gonna be interesting, and I mean, I kind of do feel like I want to see a certain crash to an extent because it would just, if you think about the historical things that have happened and how everything worked so far, it will happen sooner or later. Nobody can tell you when, but if we take a look on the history, certain things are repeating over and over again. So it's just a matter of time. It's not like a scream into, oh, the world is going to burn and crash tomorrow. But by no means. But the things that are happening and the system, what it is producing, the inflation that is shifting the behavior of the people and is shifting the economy and how people consume, is definitely repeating again. And whatever happens will happen. I mean, we don't know. Bitcoin is too
Yeah.
small to be the savior. That is my 2 cents on this.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like with the economy, it's like if you're an athlete, right? And you are, you're taking steroids, right? Like it's going to make you better. It's going to make you stronger, faster, right? And you can keep doing it. You can keep doing it. But the longer that you do it, basically the harder that you're going to fall. Same thing with, drinking coffee, right? If you're up studying or working or something, right? You can keep going for a long time, but the longer that you go, the harder that you will fall. And I feel like that's the same position the economy is in right now. Like I think previously we've had sort of major corrections, major resets, um, fairly often. And you could, if you're looking at that interval, you could say we're overdue for one now. But they're just basically taking those steroids, they're just printing money more and more, right? And that's only going to make the crash more severe. How that's going to affect Bitcoin, man, who knows? Who knows? If you look at just on fundamentals, you'd be like, okay, great. Well, like they printed a bunch of money, they inflated the money, like, out of control. The move to harder assets will be will be the only choice. But I don't think the market is exactly that rational. So we shall see.
Well, it always comes down to the people, and as you pointed out clearly, it's not rational. And yeah, I mean, whatever, whatever. To come back to the topic, Vegas was kind of nice. I enjoyed being outside of Vegas more than being inside of Vegas, apart from the conference, obviously. But
I'm glad you did
I
that. The Southwest is insane, man. It's just like it's so big and so open and deserty. I don't know. It was probably
dude,
not
we
too many
were
other places like in
driving
the world.
probably like over 10 minutes on the highway, and to the left and to the right were only solar panels, like nothing else, for 10 minutes or so. It was so crazy.
Yeah, they got a lot of sun out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at it. And I was telling Duncan, "Hey, man, we need to purchase some land here. Let's get some solar panels. We can mine for free here." That would be fantastic. But
Yeah,
oof,
making a solar native miner would be so rad.
I I seen a picture a couple days ago on X about a data center that is trying to achieve running on solar as much as possible, and it was like basic, I don't know, like 20 hectares or so of solar panels, and then a teeny tiny data center. And it had like the capability and the uptime with only solar was probably only sitting at like 60-70%, which is still good. But even then, like the power consumption that devices, especially server farms, have, everything else is enormous. If you think about Bitcoin mining, it's even worse. Like trying to run these things with solar 24/7 depends on how you do it, but is most likely a stupid idea. I mean, I have a miniature version of it on my carport. I have a couple of solar panels, and I do run a dozen of miners more or less 24/7, currently more 18 hours a day, because I don't want to drain my battery every single day. But yeah,
I mean, I've always thought that in the case of Bitcoin mining, batteries are kind of ridiculous, right? Because there's there is no need to mine 24/7, right? So it's only going you're only there's inefficiencies in charging and discharging batteries. So you're only going to reduce your uh, efficiency by trying to mine 24/7 by using battery storage, right? Why not just mine harder during the day when the sun's up? Reduces
yeah,
costs, increases
mine harder.
efficiency, and the end effect is the same uh, as far as how much Bitcoin you generate from mining. Obviously, you need to have a little bit of energy storage because solar is can be very intermittent. But yeah, I mean that's in my mind the holy grail of solar powered Bitcoin mining is like direct from solar panels, and ideally having the miners located right below the solar panels. Uh, Basically, like sun comes up, they start mining. They mine to the to the most that they can given the amount of sunlight that's hitting the panel. And then if it's a cloudy day, they don't mine as much. At night, they just turn off, and you don't have to deal with any of those expensive pesky batteries.
I mean, we're getting close to it. This particular topic is probably the longest discourse we ever had on this Discord server or along in this community. It it was a topic from the very beginning. I mean, it was the topic from the very beginning. I even say to do that. We
Yeah.
realized multiple times. Well, it is not as easy as we think it could be, but
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, it's like the ASICs themselves are just not meant to be run that way. It just,
no.
there's some pieces missing, but
Well, the
I
cool
still
thing
think it
is
can be
we're
done.
getting closer, and SK1 is
Oh, we got
probably
K1. Speaking
yeah,
of talking about this for a long time, there you go. You got some, those look like super caps. I can't see the
yeah. Even
capacitance.
even with
Oh,
super
50
caps,
farads? Is that what it says? Yeah, those are super caps. Nice. He's got a
it's
XT30 or something on there.
50 farad, 2.7 volts, and
XT60.
5 amps. That is insane. XT60, okay.
Charged to 12 volts last July, and it's 7 volts now. That's pretty good. The, the discharge tau is pretty good.
Well, the capacity is going to be the problem there. But anyway, I mean, we're moving closer to realizing a little bit more of solar friendliness mining when it comes to BitXs. I mean, it always depends on how you do view on the BitX. There are numerous different reasons out there why the people run a BitX, and everybody is correct about however they want to run the BitX. Do whatever you want with this. That's the entire spirit. But with the next version, we're gonna have the start and stop mining API gonna be available so that your miner is actually recognizing or can be put off, like in a standby mode or however you want to say it, where instead of the current state, if for example you lose the connection to your pool, then your miner is still drawing like 15 watts. So because the ASIC is still turned on, but yeah, with Stratum V2 currently been implemented and some other things been implemented, and also starting and stopping mining been implemented in terms of shutting down the ASIC chip itself. We are also implementing in the next couple of days, when I do resolve all of the merge conflicts, a feature that if you lose pool connection over a extended period of time, it's gonna shut down the miner as well. You no longer see these 15 volts, 15 watts of wattage consumption, but more like 2 to 3 watts, which is considerable way better compared to just wasting energy. So we're getting closer to using solar mining in that sense, and yeah, yeah.
The truth is out there. This can be done. This can be done. I've been, I guess, now procrastinating on trying to do this myself for years, but I still remain hopeful that it can be done.
I mean, it's not that hard. For example, I do have a NerdQX++ running on 2 solar panels, each 100 watt and like a 1 kWh battery attached to it with a small inverter from the 12 volts of the battery to. No, it's not even running on an inverter. Damn, I did that for the bit axis, but my NerdQX++ is running straight off the battery, and it just turns on when there's enough energy, and it just turns off when it's empty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, K1's that is a good point, right? I coined a name, right? I haven't actually done anything, but I coined a name for this sort of hash rate power tracking called maximum hash point tracking as opposed to maximum power point tracking. But the idea being is that you could follow the output of the panel by adjusting the hash rate of the miner. just like the way that solar battery chargers use maximum power point tracking to just charge the battery at to closely follow the maximum power output of the panel. You could do that with hash rate, but the issue is that we can't instantly change the hash rate like you can with the current for charging a battery, and things start to fall apart when you go like really low. Um, these chips just don't have a perfectly linear response to hash frequency with as it relates to power consumption, and they don't go real low. But that's the Bitmain chips, of which we famously don't have a ton of documentation for. And yeah, people are working on new chips. Got to get a little bit creative there, but yeah, this is what makes it a challenging problem. Supposedly a PLL tuning register in the Bitmain map. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of interesting things you could mess with. Like, obviously, there's changing the PLL. You could change the main clock frequency of the chip, try and coax it into running at a lower hash frequency for lower power consumption.
Well, there are still lots of things out there that we don't know. So yeah,
This is true.
it's either a matter of time or a matter of dedication on how much you want to do on that.
It can be
But
done.
I think one of the cool topics that we can talk about, apart from like being able to leverage your miner into not consuming too much power, is also that we just merged the Stratum V2 implementation, which now, alongside with the NerdX devices and the Nerd OS, is allowing the Bitaxe family also to be able to mine with Stratum V2 connections, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a move forward in leveraging tools that are out there, and yeah, I mean, there's no timeline for the next release. Probably we will not put that much more into it for the next release because it's already so much that we put into it. Um, but we're really good when it comes to testing everything, making sure that all of the things are working correctly. As you pointed out earlier, we have tons of amazing people like STS Miner and others that are just testing so hard. All of the other people in the firmware tester channel as well. It is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, no matter
Yeah,
if you
shout out
do
to
like
STS
certain,
Miner, dude.
yeah,
That guy's crushing it, dude.
he,
Tester extraordinaire, moderator extraordinaire.
he's
Uh,
basically here 24/7.
yes, he never comes to the town halls, but it's probably because he's, you know, busy testing. Dude
He
is a
probably
rock
does have a
star.
real life.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But we should certainly appreciate all the effort and hard work that he puts into OSMU and open source Bitcoin mining projects.
Yeah, let's see. What else is there to talk about? We could go over a ton of changes that have been implemented very shortly into the BitX firmware and all of the other ones that already have been, but I think that would be a little bit too repetitive or too boring. So,
What's the highlights reel? What are the changes that you're most amped about?
well, it, it depends on if you want to talk about the things that are awesome in general or crazy as well. Because we
Let's go
have,
crazy.
okay, crazy is probably the way how we try to fix these hash rate spikes. So, for those people who are tracking like Reddit, and sometimes some people post this on Discord here as well, is that from time to time, without 100% reliability, not reproducible issues, which is that sometimes, because we moved over to the hash rate register of the BM chips, it spikes in hash rate. And sometimes people have like 40 terahash or so being reported. And the way how we're trying to move around this is kind of crazy. We tried a couple of different methods. Some of them are a little bit better. Some of them are not really improving anything. the crazy part here is there are certain forks of ESP miner that try to do this differently. The problem basically is that something is going on the chip that is tripping it, and we don't know why this exactly is happening, which shifts how the response from the ASIC chip is going back into the ESP, and then we do the hash rate calculation, and it looks like you have 40 terahash, even though you're just mining with like 1 terahash. There are some folks out there that just basically reset the ASIC chip whenever they do detect something like this, which is basically hiding the issue. Mutatron did a really good job of trying to dive a little bit into certain issues with it. We probably have over 10 different commits um, on how to resolve that. We basically touched so many things. The last thing that we touched was the mutex logs that we had for the hash rate calculation and the monitoring of it, because it could be that maybe something is not tripping on the ASIC chip, but something is tripping on the ESP. The problem is we don't know, so we are guessing here. But sometimes we see improvements, sometimes we don't. We had it once that we were able to reproduce these spikes multiple times, but now we are back again into the state where, damn, it's no longer reproducible. Sometimes it happens, but it's not reproducible any longer. So we fixed something, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, magic shit that's happening there sometimes. And this is the beauty about trying to reverse engineer something that you don't fully understand.
This is these kind of bugs are the worst, man. They're the worst. It's like so hard to reproduce. And it's like a Heisenbug too, right? Like the more set up you are to, analyze the logs or get voltage readings or whatever, like the less often the bug happens, of course.
I had it once. A viewer of my YouTube channel was writing me an email and was like, "Hey, I do have a unit here. I was overclocking it to an extent, and I saw these hash rate spikes, and I can reproduce it." I was, "Wow, that's amazing. Can you please send me over this unit? I'll pay for the postage, and I send it back to you a couple of weeks later when I'm done with testing and evaluating what's going on." I told him, "Don't change anything. Just send me everything that you do have, exactly the setup, like the miner. Don't, at best, don't even touch it." But obviously he needed to ship it over to me. He sent it over to me. I received it. I was evaluating it for over 3 weeks, and it didn't happen once.
Oh man, of
Not a
course.
single
Of
time.
course.
It
It's
was
called
so
Murphy's Law.
frustrating. Like, I don't
I had
know.
the same thing with the flat line of death bug, right? It's like, there was some guy who's like, it happens multiple times a day on this one bit axe that I have. It's not even all of his bit axes. On this one bit axe. I was like, dude, send it to me. He sent it to me. I plugged it in. It ran for months and never happened.
It's so weird. It is so weird. I mean, we could probably try to guess certain things. We did a lot of guessing on testing. The fixes and the commits that we do have in the master branch have improved and changed certain behaviors. So I wouldn't say it's completely gone, but the amount of how often it is happening is tremendously, at least from the testers that we do have and that tested particularly on that topic, is reduced. So with the next release, we're gonna see if the version 2.15 is gonna change it to an extent that more people will like it. 2.14, I'm sorry, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There are other crazy things as well that we will have with the next release, as I just pointed out, sort of V2. Um, the possibility of showing the actual frequency on your dashboard and the voltage. For example, currently, if you set up a certain frequency for your ASIC chip, it is not always exactly landing on that frequency. It has to do with PLL and how everything works out. But with the next release, we actually gonna show the true voltage and frequency that your chip is gonna be using, which is good for us developers, especially because now we can tackle down a couple of things. And not use a close enough number, but the true number.
That'll be good too for people trying to overclock,
Mm-hmm.
auto tune, right? Is like you want to if you're making small changes and then testing to see what the result is, it really helps to know what it actually changed to, right? If it's not exactly at your set point, uh, then you can see the effect of these small steps better.
I mean, one thing that I already um, that is already in there in the master branch is the dashboard layout as well, which gives a little bit more customizability for the people that do take a look on the web UI. I mean, I myself, I'm barely looking at the web UI these days because I have so many API tools and everything else that I just don't even need to. But it's too much that's going on there that has changed, and it's good. We have lots of fantastic things coming up, and we will keep on doing that. That's basically all that's to say about the changes that are going to be coming out there. Nothing groundbreaking at the moment, I'd say, apart from certain V2, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, it's moving forward. A little bit of a slower pace, but still doing it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys are crushing it.
Apart from that, let's see. Do you guys in the audience have any questions? I have my doubts because most of the people that I do see here are regularly here, but you never know.
Temperature affects the voltage that the ASIC wants. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's a very important part of this system, the control system. And unfortunately, the temperature sensor is not as precise and not as accurate as you might like. I think there's going to be basically silicon lottery on that temperature uh, sensor, and we don't have really good specs for how the temperature sensor works. So there's a little bit of guesswork that goes in there. I wouldn't be surprised if different chips have different temperature response curves for the diode, the temp diode that's in there.
Well, the only thing, or the only way how we could eliminate that is by using an actual temperature diode that we do know and have data sheets for. But yeah, we did that. Was not the best idea, but especially if you do
Yeah,
have a diode to use.
the Ultra had that because it doesn't have an on die temperature sensor.
True.
But yeah, there's problems with that too, because the best place to sense the chip temperature is on the die inside the chip. But yeah, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, I think these temperature sensors are basically like the check engine light on your car. The check engine light on your car is not for like tuning your car or for diagnosis of a problem. It's like something's busted, stop driving, that kind of thing. They call it the idiot light for that reason. I feel like the temperature sensors in a way are like that. It's like if it's way too hot, something's wrong, stop mining. Not like this uh, really precise measurement that you can gain a lot of insight into the operation of the chip. I always thought it would be cool to do a setup, a miner that has a few chips in it, but has really, really good temperature, voltage, and maybe even clock frequency, like really tight controls and really high frequency sampling. And so, you know, it's hand wavy, but I think you could probably do some machine learning on that and get much better insight into the operation of the chip. But that would be a lot of extra costs that uh, you know, wouldn't really add a lot of appeal to the Bitaxe or something like that. To have that would be purely a educational research and development type tool.
Do you want
I
to
did a
answer the
project a
question
while back.
from developer algo?
Oh, where are the BZM2? I mean, Intel Bonanza chips. Are they available for us to get and play around with? No, not yet. Still working on that. Um, Yeah, we'll let you know as soon as we can. I mean, the first batch of 256,000 chips has all been distributed. We put out the open call for that. I feel like maybe not as many people were aware of that as wanted to be, but all those initial chips have been distributed. There's folks in OSMU that have those chips, and they have a big stack of them. So if you ask around, you might be able to get your hands on some. Um, as far as getting more, um, I have some indications that the people that have them are willing to distribute them. Obviously, they're not really useful for anything else besides what we're doing. So um, they'll get out there. I think the the real problem is that the data sheet for that chip is just not available. Sadly, the people that have it are not willing to distribute it, but a few people do have it. And are working on making open source designs with it. And those can hopefully serve as reference designs and documentation in a way for people that want to build on it. And so I am still actively working on a project like that, the Bitaxe Bonanza. Um, I have like the third like major revision sitting on my desk, and we've we demoed it at the Heat Punk Summit, which was in like February in Denver, and it's working. It was mining. It was mining from Mujina, so that's like tethered via USB. But we've basically done an end-to-end test on it, and it works, which is cool. Those designs are all published. They're all on the Bitaxe org GitHub. If you want to take a look at that, Bitaxe Birds was the one that we used for that demo. Work still is ongoing to integrate that code into ESP Miner, but yeah, I think that should happen pretty soon. We can get that released. Ideally, when Bitaxe Bonanza hardware is validated and verified, then we can get some of those chips from the people that have them and figure out a way to distribute them to people who want to build one. It's kind of tough because the people that have it, they certainly don't want to be sending one over to developer algo and two over to Audi. So we got to find someone who's willing to do that, but I think we should be able to.
It's a shame.
So yeah, it is a shame. I mean the whole way that project went down from Intel is kind of a shame. I mean, I will say though that chip is ridiculously complicated. It like even when you have the data sheet, it's harder to use than the Bitmain chips without a data sheet. It's insane. It's really crazy how it works. I feel like Intel just way over engineered it. I don't know what they're thinking. So yeah,
Well,
beware. But the price is right. Getting approaching $0 each is pretty cool. Just they're finicky little chips that are complicated to interface with. So some of that, well, I don't know. There's a saying. It's like there's nothing more expensive than a free boat. Meaning, if someone gives you a free boat, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get it to work.
yeah,
It's kind of the same thing with these BZM2 chips.
it's kind of a burden, but yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We're sitting over 1 hour in. I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. Unless
Yes, we should
do
wrap
you
this up.
have anything else that we want to share, talk about? I don't know about you, Scott, or the audience. If there's any topic that you want to touch on, we gonna close this up then.
Yeah. So can we use the buck already in Bitaxe like MPPT by observing V in and current and V out and I out, assuming the buck can accept 60-volt input? Well, no, the buck cannot accept 60-volt input. I know you're working on something that can. That's an interesting idea. I think that's how a lot of MPPT charge controllers work, is by boosting the voltage up and down. But I will say that charging batteries is quite a bit easier than running ASICs. So there's some additional complications in there. But yeah, Bitaxe Buck does not accept 60 volts. I think the max is like 17. So you would need to put something in front of that or pick a different buck. The issue with the Bitaxe Buck, right, is it is very difficult to find, I would say borderline impossible to find a single buck regulator that can take, even 24 volts in and do 1.2 out at, 30, 40 watts. That kind of part just doesn't exist. So yeah, maybe a 2-stage thing is the way to go. It's an interesting project.
Yeah, and definitely a little bit of efficiency losses there, but yeah,
Yeah.
well, we could talk about this for hours, but I don't think.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. All right, I'd say you maybe wrap it up and go into your dose of shout outs there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Animal and a one mall animal. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Derek, legend. Thanks for seeing us. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if all you know, but Derek is a badass. He and his team are responsible for redesigning the Bitaxe website, making it look actually cool. He also recently pitched in to do the relaunch of the Bitaxe Legit list. If any of you are Bitaxe sellers and you haven't done it already, please go to, if you just go to the Legit list now, there's a link. You can submit your shop to be added to the new Legit list. Derek put together this fantastic backend. It's all based on GitHub. Now it's all transparent as to who is added and when and why. Thanks for doing that. It looks amazing. I saw you've been working on some other stuff for WantClue. I don't know, maybe he'll get into that. But good to see you. ComX10, of course, from Solo Satoshi, the legends. You guys are crushing it. I'm sure everyone knows Solo Satoshi, but what you might not know is that these guys are badass. They're such big supporters of the community, helping out lots of us, get a hold of the hardware you need for testing. They run a fantastic shop and are generally good dudes. Matt, I'll include you under this heading with Hunter, so that, yeah, you guys are both cool. Seems like you got some really big stuff coming up. I won't spoil the news, but yeah, really exciting stuff. Glad to see you guys here. Thank you for all your support. You guys are amazing. Developer Algo, good to see you. I assume you're still working on some good stuff. Maybe some BZM2 chips in your future. That'd be cool to get you hacking on it. Thanks for joining us. We got Decentralized Mind. Decentralized Mind. Buddy, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It sounds like you are like Bitaxe and NerdQX repairman extraordinaire. This is cool, man. Getting people's machines fixed up. Hardware is real. Hardware breaks, and fixing it up. And I don't know. I think your story of how you got into this is awesome. You can just do things in this world, and you are a prime example of doing that, which is awesome. Thanks for joining us, Adi, the mad scientist, wizard extraordinaire. If you are looking to hire a fantastic dude, a brilliant engineer, please contact Adi. I know he is looking to work on projects and is very capable. So please contact him. He's got all kinds of cool designs going on. Distortions, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for your support. Always appreciate your commentary in OSMU. I know there's just like all manner of discussions that go on there, and you're always on, in my opinion, the right side of these. So thank you for all your support. Next on my list, Matt, already gave you guys a shout out. Legends, of course. Thanks for everything. K1, of course, another legend. Dude, we got the whole crew here. This is so rad. K1 is my like secret weapon because he's a human electronics parts catalog. He knows all these parts. I don't know how you do it, but like you just be like, instead of Googling like, or, asking your AI, like, I need a part that does this and this and this. I just ask K1 and he's like, oh yeah, like I've been following this one and check this out. And he's usually spot on. Stuff's amazing. I used your Scala, um, it's not RTL, but the FPGA design that you sent me, threw it into my AI, generated a bit stream for the Tang Nano 90K, and it mines, but not very well. Not very well. I haven't had to HDL. That's the word I was looking for. HDL. Yeah, I'll send you the link to it. But yeah, I vibe coded it all up, like got it working, and it said I should be in the like hundreds of kilohashes range, and I think I'm in the like less than 1 kilohash range. Obviously, there's some optimization that could be done there, but yeah, for anyone, it's on. I can't remember if it's on my GitHub or on bitaxe.org, but it's called the Tang miner because it targets this FPGA development board called the Tang Nano. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, we've talked about FPGA stuff here a bunch in the past. It's not for making performant miners, but it is for getting an lower level understanding of how these chips work, the ASICs themselves, and you can, with FPGAs, you can essentially design your own chip in a way with software and reprogram it and try things out. Oh, Audie's working on a ASIC design also. Just got a few FPGA to mine on. Okay. Well, I don't, Tang Miner, you can check it out. It needs some work. It is not working well yet, but I like vibe coded an interface to Mujina for it, so it does mine. It's kind of cool because it's like you can get this dev board on like Amazon. Anyways, thanks K1. This is cool. This is fun. I got to be careful with these like rabbit holes I go down because I was like, oh yeah, this is be a quick project. I'll just bang this out on like a Sunday, and then hours later, I'm still futzing with it. Ben, what's up, homie? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Ben is an absolute legend. He's got his hands in absolutely everything, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, everything he touches is a glorious success. Ben is a goat. It feels weird to call people a goat. Like that's not a compliment, but the thing is, it stands for greatest of all time. It's very fitting in this situation. And Greg, DJ, Conk 15, Sid Chisel. Sid Chisel is a pretty legit name. You sound like a badass. And OTB, thank you all for joining us. This has been a fantastic town hall. Tune in 2 weeks. I hear we're having a special guest. Is that right?
It is.
Wonklu's taking a nap. Oh
No, I'm sorry. I'm just receiving like tons of messages going like, was taking a look on my phone. I'm sorry.
There we go. We're having a special guest next time, right?
Yes. We're gonna have a special guest next time. Next town hall, we're gonna talk with Schnitzel about the Doom eggs, which is basically the first working prototype of using Mujina as a firmware on a control board, the Leaper board. Both of these things are open source, and combining that bit with the Bitaxe raw firmware to basically just don't use the Bitaxe as it is currently, but use the ASIC on it. And the Bitaxe is just perfect. It's like being an easy interface for communicating with an ASIC chip. And it is a proof of concept that he just quickly, or not quickly, but that he put together in order to make sure that he can prove that what he's building, the Leaper board, is working. And I invited him to come on the town hall stage next week. So I do hope that people are interested in that and want to learn a little bit more about how we can move away from just like having these Raspberry Pi styled Bitcoin miners into going over to actually designing and building control boards, which also is basically the step into the big mining scene. So no longer being restricted to like lower things, but think about like you swap out just the control board from your Bitmain Antminer, put in a Reaper board, have a little bit more open source touch to it, and do whatever you want with it and play a little bit of Doom on your S23 that is coming out.
If I were in charge of giving away the Best of Show award from Bitcoin Vegas, it would 100% go to Schnitzel for the Dumax. He was lugging that thing around. It's battery powered, so he was like carrying it around, mining, and showing it off to everyone. It was so cool. Thing was amazing, and it plays Doom.
It is. It is. It is more than amazing. I mean, it is exactly
Yeah,
what is
it's
needed. I
true.
mean, we you did your first sort of USB style control board that people could use, but obviously, like connecting it to PC is not the ideal way. So you just quickly try to get it into the hash. What was it called? Hash card or so.
Oh,
I don't remember
the bit
your
cart,
Raspberry Pi,
the bit
the big
cart.
card. Yeah,
Yeah,
you never routed it, but the idea was or is on GitHub. So it's basically retaking that idea and finishing it into something that is fantastic.
yeah, and making it way cooler. Making it way cooler.
Yeah,
He totally crushed it. It's super cool.
it's
I
fantastic.
want one. I want one so bad. I haven't been able to get my hands on one yet.
Damn.
Things are amazing, right? It can run a full node, like a control board that runs a full node, has like an LCD display connection, right? It has Wi-Fi. It's got USB ports. It's so cool. Oh, what's the Tang? Yeah, sorry, did I say 9K? It's the 20K that I've been targeting. They make a 9K and they make a 20K. I forget how much the 20K was. I feel like it's in the $30-$40 neighborhood. We get the 20K because the 9K that's just too small.
All right. I
Yeah, you
don't
can
know
get it
what
cheaper
I
from
should
China.
answer to that, but I guess we're gonna end
Yeah, just
this town hall
drop
here.
the mic. There we go.
Thanks everybody for tuning in, and see you hopefully again in 2 weeks and talk a little bit more about open source. Till then, thanks for joining in, and good night from my end.
Later, everyone.